Hey guys, it's Courtney from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Leo new moon happening on July 24th. So, this is a tumultuous new moon. It's not the most pleasant, I think, for a lot of people, and I'm going to break down why that is. So, you'll notice that there is a kite configuration here in this chart. You can see the sun and moon are at the bottom half of the kite towards the tail. And then we have Black Moon Lilith in one corner, Saturn, Neptune in another, and then Pluto at the very apex or top. So a kite is a aspect pattern or fated configuration that puts more emphasis on, again, fate in this scenario, and it creates a little bit more dynamic energy going on with all the planets to create some kind of storyline. The planet that's at the apex of a kite is going to be a huge central focus. So it's interesting that it's Pluto and it's directly opposite this new moon, because Pluto has an energy of revelation, of expulsion, of unveiling, uncovering, unearthing, and removing and cleansing or detoxifying. So these are the general themes of the experiences that we're going to encounter at this time. A Leo new moon, first of all, any new moon is about starting some kind of new timeline. With Leo, there is so much going on around following your desires, following what you really want in a situation, or knowing what is on your heart and listening to that. And with this opposition with Pluto, it does show you where there is some tension between what you want and certain shadowy aspects of yourself or of life that you have to contend with to look into your heart and explore more what you desire. Leo is also, especially at 2 to 3 degrees, the Sabian symbols for that speaks about a woman with long hair. Someone else said like her hair was cut, but regardless, her hair is released. It's not in a bun or anything. She's braless. She's in a youthful shirt. And there's something about this that's very unrestrained, unbothered, authentic, vibrant, vital. These are all very Leo themes. Leo is quite childlike, quite youthful, and uninhibited, moving towards your desires, towards your goals, not conforming, not trying to fit into a box, or not trying to limit yourself, and just being 100% authentic in your expression, in your desires, in your movement. Again, unrestrained, vibrant, physically vibrant. And that is kind of the ultimate goal that we have. Like, that's something that we want. We want to feel good again. Maybe some of us want to feel like, again, physically healthy, or maybe some of us have a certain goal that we really want, or we just want to feel good in our skin in some way, or positive about something. But there's quite a bit of complexity that is getting in the way of that. So I want to talk about Pluto, but before I do, I want to also mention that this moon is also squaring Chiron. And so there is something triggered here in our desire to be uninhibited, or our movement towards being unrestrained. So there's something, again, triggered here that can be just showing that it needs to be healed. So this could be, for example, a great example is my brother, who's going through surgery right now. And, Mercury retrograde makes sense because it is a surgery that he's already had, and he's getting the screws and stuff removed. So he has to go back in and redo something. So there is definitely some element here of, the past coming back up, or having something that maybe we thought wasn't an issue, or maybe we overlooked before, especially with Pluto, there can be elements of secrets where something that's already happened is being revealed now, or something that we thought we resolved is coming back up, or whatever it is, but there's something of unveiling, unearthing things that are connected to or have taken place in our past but affect us today. And again, it can be triggering whatever that is. So in my brother's case, it's physically, triggering, or whatever you'd say. It's physically wounding. But for others of us, it can be emotionally wounding, where we might feel, with Chiron and Aries, we might feel more alone. We might feel like we have to do something on our own, or that we are having some kind of fissure or separation, because Aries, very common experience with Aries or Mars are having to kind of go off on your own, or having some kind of conflict or some kind of breakup or ending of some chapter, or even something happening quite suddenly that's asking you to respond quickly. And a lot of our survival instincts can kind of flare up. So I think there's kind of this golden desire, like I talked about with this Leo new moon, to feel really good and to have certain things that we want, or to move towards our desires and be uninhibited. But then there's all these wounds and triggers and things being unearthed from the past that are kind of getting in the way of that. So it's like, okay, in my brother's case, it is very literal. Like, he wants to be free. He wants to hike. He wants to do sports again, and whatever he wants to do, and not have to limp around. But he has to go back and redo the surgery to take out the equipment to be able to heal, to acknowledge what was going wrong, because there's likely something that wasn't healing properly, which is why I had to go back. There's something not quite right with this Pluto energy. It's going to reveal what was hidden, what was not acknowledged from the past that we need to unveil, unearth. And it can be triggering or physically or emotionally upsetting. But once that wound is dealt with, we're then able to cross over into some kind of new chapter from a healed place and have more of that freedom that we're really desiring. And that's part of what I see Black Moon Lilith retrograde in Sagittarius. I see this as the issues that we might have around freedom, how we might feel somehow like freedom is not as accessible, especially with it trining Saturn and Neptune in Aries. There might be some kind of like disillusionment in our life where we want some type of freedom, but it might feel like it's not quite there yet, or life is not quite what we thought it would be in certain ways. That's Saturn and Neptune together, which is an ongoing theme throughout this year and into next year that we're going to explore, especially when it's aspecting the moon or the new or full moon. So again, that's really this kind of disillusionment with things. That's this kind of backdrop energy that's already going on. And there are natural circumstances that can dishearten us with Saturn and Neptune, again, that are occurring really now and reaching its peak February 2026. So the circumstances in life, in the world and relationships, all those things can be kind of disheartening, and like the backdrop of this energy. And then again, Black Moon Lilith retrograde in Sagittarius can represent the desire for freedom, but instead we get maybe inhibition or judgment or fear or some kind of external issue that can get in the way of that levity or lightness, that spontaneity, and that feeling of being free and being young and being, just like uninhibited. So I do see Sagittarius and Leo kind of working together for the same aim, but they're both kind of hindered down or blocked in some way. And I think my brother's example is such a good one because it's so tangible. But you can see it really with anything. Like if there's something that you really just want to be on the other side of, or you want to have some kind of lightness around, or you just want that thing to resolve, because then it's going to give you so much peace so that you can, roam free and without the shackles of that situation. This new moon is going to kind of force you to confront it, because Pluto is a very confronting type of energy. Like you can't ignore something when Pluto is around. So is going to expose and literally expulsion, like expose and then expulsion. So it's going to reveal and then it's going to remove from your life, or require some type of removal. And the removal happens through transformation, because, you know, Pluto is all about, you know, the alchemical process of changing things from one state to another to make it work. So something in our life isn't quite working, or there's something a little bit off about it, especially connected to a past event that's already taken place, and it's been there underneath the surface, kind of nagging at us or affecting us even unconsciously. And now it's making itself obvious, it's making itself apparent. Now we have to address it. Now we have to transform ourselves and our lives and remove certain things from our lives and change who we are, or what we want, or what we think about something, or where we're going with something. Or do, in this case, like my brother, literal surgery to remove something. And then from the other side of that, there's a process of healing that we're going to have to undergo that might be challenging, you know, in this transformation. But once we get on the other side, it's going to be a lot more lightness, authenticity, freedom, vitality, following our desires, being uninhibited and nonconformist. So yeah, I'm really excited about the ultimate destination of this new moon. But yeah, it does kind of suck, honestly. We do still have Mars in Virgo with the South Node, and this does, like I mentioned in the last moon video, indicate some type of like neuroticism, anxiety, fear, overthinking, overanalyzing. So anxiety can be pretty strong right now for some people. Mars South Node can also indicate, you know, elements of perfectionism or productivity, or wanting to be super healthy, but those things maybe being in the decline or somehow being troubling. So if you want to be really efficient and have all these plans and have everything work out perfectly and have the healing journey be right on track, step by step, I can see that maybe not being the case, especially during Mercury retrograde right now, where there's also some element of chaos being introduced into the, you know, the portion of our life that's controlled by logistics and facts and intentions. Like, I think a lot of that can go awry. Things can be miscommunicated. Relationships can have certain breakdowns. There can be some technical issues that happen. It's just like introducing more entropy into an already emotionally charged situation where we're trying to uncover something and remove it from our life and then heal from that. It's like in that process, there's already all this entropy going on. So I was a little bit worried that something would go wrong with my brother's surgery, but it's not. Knock on wood, it's not. It's going to be great. But anyway, so yeah, it's almost like undermining the success of something. But, you know, it's not so black and white, because this Mars South Node does square Venus in Gemini. So there is some element of, you know, wanting to communicate well, or wanting to come to an agreement or understand one another, wanting to talk about things, and, you know, use good logic and figure out the best solution for something. But again, that Mars South Node can kind of undermine the success of Venus. So it's a little push and pull where there can be some conflict and misunderstandings with people, but then also there can be some clarity gained and some resolution. So, but it's going to be hard-won resolution, or resolution on the back of conflict. So yeah, that's the ultimate kind of picture of this new moon. I hope that this is making sense. But the Leo energy, I think it's, again, kind of focused on being uninhibited, but in order to get to that space of freedom and authenticity and expression, feeling vital and strong and healthy, we're going to have to encounter the Pluto and the Chiron energy, which is forcing us to acknowledge something potentially difficult and transform ourselves and heal ourselves in the process. So let's go ahead and dive into what this is going to look like for all of the signs, and I will see you guys there. If you want to learn astrology from me, I haven't even been promoting it enough because I've been traveling, but I am running an astrology course, and I will link my workshop, my free workshop, down below in the sales page if you want to check that out, to see if you'd be interested in joining a live mentorship with me. So check that out in the description box down below. Don't forget to also like this video and subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. All right, up first we have Aries, rising, and sun. For you guys, this Leo new moon happening on the 24th of July is taking place in your 5th house. So I've kind of broken down the astrology into 3 parts, or 3 questions that I asked tarot. If you haven't watched the overview, make sure you check that out, because this might not make sense without that. But this new moon is opposite Pluto, and Pluto is all about darkness to some extent. So one of my questions for tarot is, what darkness do you need to face? The second question, because this new moon also squares Chiron, there's some wounding coming up. So that question is, what do you need to heal? And then the Leo new moon can provide a blessing. So that is my question. Number 3, what is the blessing you'll get from doing this? So Pluto is opposite this moon. So Pluto's in your 11th house. And I asked, what is the darkness you need to face? And I got the High Priestess. So a couple of things here. First of all, the High Priestess represents something that is often unseen. So there might be some elements of things that are being revealed right now that you still can't even see the full picture of. Especially Pluto in the 11th, it might have more of a systemic quality to it. So for example, like you maybe struggle with certain elements of self-worth or self-belief, or having certain issues, but it actually comes from maybe societal pressures, or like capitalism, or certain existing like ideologies that you are so submerged in that you don't even realize you're operating under it. So I think that's part of this, is you might not even fully see the extent of the darkness that you are facing, because it comes from outside of you and it's larger than maybe you can see right now. And this could also be involving groups or people, like a larger context that subsumes you. So part of the darkness that you need to face, I think, is maybe some inner questioning around like what you believe is true, what you subscribe to, what you are influenced by, and questioning that a little bit more. With this new moon squaring Chiron in Aries, which is in your sign, we have the 9 of Pentacles, and this is what needs to be healed. So this represents independence. So you might have some type of wounding coming up around self-reliance or independence. This could be that you become maybe like having like a, martyrdom belief of like, I always have to do it on my own, or when I try to rely on people, it hurts me, or I'm like isolated somehow, or having some faulty beliefs about independence. So like an example of this would be growing up in the United States. We're a very individualistic society. So there might be something here where you like become hyper independent, and you don't realize that you're actually being influenced by the pressures of society to be on your own and not like be vulnerable or not rely on people. So there's something like that where it's like, do you have a healthy relationship with yourself and your ability to work with others? And there might be something again that you are there might be something going on in your relationship with yourself in general that is being influenced by a larger context, like the friend group that you're in, the culture that you're in, the society that you're in, the time that you're in. And something needs to be healed within your relationship with yourself and your independence or reliance on others. Then what's the gift that you're going to get from this? So we have this new moon in your 5th house. And the 5th house is a house of self-expression and also pleasure. So there's something about this 4 of Cups. Usually it can represent like an apathy, but I'm getting it more from the perspective of like, you're not caring as much what other people think in a positive way, or you are not doing the things that like you don't enjoy as much. So I'm almost getting this feeling of like you disconnecting from certain influences that could make you stay in situations in your life, or commitments in your life that you're not enjoying for longer than you actually wanted to, because you're becoming more in tune with yourself and what you really desire. Or with the Four of Cups, if you were being influenced by others' perspectives about yourself and your relationship with yourself and your concept of yourself, I can see you detaching from that in a healthier way to become more of like a healthier individual. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Aries. I hope that that's helpful. Don't forget to check out my free workshop on the moon, which I also discuss my astrology mentorship. If you're interested in working with me, I will link that in my description box down below. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next I have Taurus rising and sun. For you, the Leo new moon happening on July 24th is taking place in your 4th house. If you haven't watched the overview, definitely check that out because it's going to be briefer today. But this new moon is a little bit intense because it is opposing Pluto in your 10th house. So Pluto can refer to darkness and shadows and things being revealed, like secrets. And so I pulled some cards around like what is the darkness that you need to face at this new moon. And I got the 2 swords in reverse and the star. So this to me represents uncertainty or a lack of clarity, and how that can lead you to sometimes wobble in your faith or your hope about something. So there can be moments in time where you feel like maybe disoriented or confused, or like, oh, I'm clear about this, and then it does a 180, or there's like a hiccup in the path that makes you lose a sense of certainty around where you're going. And with the star card, it can affect your like connection to abundance, hope, prosperity, and the feeling that good things are to come, this optimism. And so part of the darkness that you need to face is almost like getting reoriented or remaining connected to your faith in times of really not knowing what's going on. Almost like using faith or spirituality as your compass rather than the visibility of the path ahead. So this moon is troubling because it's squaring Chiron in Aries, which is in your 12th house. And Chiron can represent something that needs to be healed. So I pulled some cards around what needs to be healed for you, and I got the Judgment, the Justice in reverse, and the Page of Cups. So the Judgment represents an awakening or a realization. And the Justice in reverse can refer to this awakening or realization being around the fact that life is not always fair, that shitty things sometimes happen to good people, and that, you might have a wounding around, like, do I get what's fair to me? Like, I'm putting out this energy, am I getting that back? Maybe feeling like, feeling frustrated by that. And with the Page of Cups, it's almost like needing to heal your inner child around that, because, there's nothing more disheartening to kids than them seeing something really unfair happen in front of them. Like, why do they get to go and I don't get to go? That kind of thing. And there's almost like this inner child within you that might feel, this like petulance or like, unhappiness with spirit almost, or like the unseen forces of the world, and why does this happen for some people and not for me? There's something that needs to be healed around that, that is going to restore a blessing for you, which represents Leo new moon in the 4th house. So what is the blessing for you? I feel like once you're able to come into a place of greater trust around your path when you can't see things, and when things feel unfair, kind of healing your inner child around that. Once you're able to do that, you're going to come into a place of a lot more prosperity. I can see with the Queen of Pentacles, this is somebody who has money or who has stability in a certain area of their life where they didn't before. The Ace of Swords is somebody who finds solutions where there were once problems. They have this kind of like mental clarity, and a lot of trust in themselves and their fortitude to be able to like know the right decisions, know the right connections or career moves, or Yeah, it's like somebody who's really very well anchored within themselves, but also has a secure foundation in general to move their life forward in a positive direction. And that's what I see that Leo in the fourth house representing. It could also just be on a physical level, like having some positive developments within your financial security or your home life, feeling emotionally more stable. But those are all things that allow you to embody this Queen of Pentacles in general. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Taurus. I hope that this was helpful for you. If so, let me know in the comments down below. I'm also running an astrology mentorship in August. So if you guys are interested in joining, I did push the date back if you were already aware of it. And if you want to check out my moon workshop that I kind of have a little taste test of the course and see some course info, I will link that in my description box down below. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, a mix of Gemini, rising, and sun. For you guys, this Leo new moon is happening in your third house on July 23rd. So it's a complicated new moon. If you haven't watched the overview, you need to watch that to understand everything that I'm going to talk about today. But I'm going to break the cards down into 3 sections, 3 questions based off of the astrology. This new moon opposes Pluto, which is in your 9th house. And Pluto represents some type of darkness or shadow or secret being revealed. So my first tarot question was, what is the darkness that you need to face at this new moon? And I got the Star card. Well, this makes sense to me a lot with having Pluto in the 9th, because the 9th house is a house of optimism, and this is strangely overlapping with Taurus. But part of the darkness that needs to be revealed is how you might become cynical, how you might start to question things in like a larger context, how you might lose hope or faith or optimism or inspiration with life when things are going wrong or when one hiccup happens. So that is part of the darkness you need to face. This moon is also squaring Chiron in Aries in your 11th, which can represent something that needs to be healed, something that's painful for you. So Chiron being in the house of friendship and community could indicate that there's something here that is coming up in your relationships. And I pulled the 6 of Wands and then the 5 of Swords. So part of what needs to be healed here is potentially some past conflict with people, or some ongoing like belief that you have, or some ongoing relationship pattern, or something that's been continuously kind of coming up with the 5 of Swords. The 6 of Wands is a card of like appreciation and recognition. So this card can also speak to how you might feel like there are times in your relationships where you're not getting the recognition that you deserve, or the support that you deserve. And so there could be something with that around having, like, needing to heal your confidence around, you know, how much love and appreciation, recognition you're getting from people. And there might be some kind of pattern or cycle in thought coming up around that from the past that needs to be addressed. We also have the 4 of Swords. This is the card that represents your gift. And I see this Leo new moon as a gift in the end. I mean, not right now, but in the end, it will be a gift. And so this is in your 3rd house, and you have the 4 of Swords. So I'm getting the sense of you guys being able to do more things that are like fun. I think that you guys maybe have been like taking life a little bit seriously lately, and there might be just, you know, I think it all kind of contributes to one another. It could be relationship stresses, or feeling like, you know, you're not getting the attention that you wanted, or the support that you wanted, and then maybe you're like losing hope with certain things of your life, and then it makes you take life too seriously. I'm getting this Leo new moon at the other end of it. Once you confront all those things, it's going to help you relax more, find greater peace, reflect more about yourself and what feels good and what you really desire, and cultivate more of that sense of joy in your life, especially in your own like inner world and inner dialogue that I think that you may be disconnected with at this point. So yeah, if you notice that you're taking things seriously, that's where the healing needs to come into play. And again, watch the overview, because there's a lot of context to this, and That's all I'm going to say for now. If you want to learn astrology with me, I am launching a live mentorship in August. I pushed the date back. So check that out. I'm going to have a whole workshop on that. That's already up, and a sales page. So if you're interested in watching that workshop or looking at the course details, then you can check that out. I will link it in my description box down below. Don't forget to also give some love to this video, subscribe, give thumbs up, comment, and have a beautiful day. Bye. I'm next have Cancer, Rising, and Sun. So this Leo new moon happening on July 24th is taking place in your second house. And if you haven't watched the overview, you definitely need to watch that to understand even the context of this reading. So Pluto is opposite this new moon, and Pluto represents some type of shadow that, or some kind of like secret that we need to face. And so my first cards that I pulled were around this Pluto, which for you is in the 8th house. And I got the moon in reverse, followed by the 10 of Wands. So to me, this represents the unveiling or the truth being revealed, that you kind of make your own life harder. There's a very common theme with Pluto, especially when it's in the 8th or 12th, or when it aspects Saturn, or when it aspects Mars. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but those are some common themes I see when people have some type of self-sabotage, or they contribute to their own suffering in some way. And that is what I'm seeing here. So there's some message for you guys to be, I got this at the Leo new moon, to realize like how you contribute to your own suffering, how you might see now for like in a clearer way that things don't have to be this hard, that you're making it harder, that you're making things hurt more. You know, it's almost like perpetuating some negative feeling, which is really common with like 8th house planets, especially Pluto. It has an obsessive quality to it. So there might be like a fear of a negative outcome, and then you think about that negative outcome over and over again type of situation. So something like that going on here, where it's like you're making yourself suffer. So this new moon is also squaring Chiron in Aries, which is in your 10th house. And this is something that needs to be healed. So you guys, you know, when I asked like what needs to be healed, I pulled the 9 of Cups, followed by the 6 of Wands in reverse. So this, to me, there's a few messages here, but Chiron on the 10th can have a lot to deal with like reputation, prestige, achievement, career, living up to like certain societal expectations. And you guys might feel with the 6 of Wands in reverse that you're not living up to those, that there are certain accolades in life or certain milestones that you're not achieving, or recognition that you're not getting. But the 9 of Cups suggests that you might also feel like when you follow what you want, what your heart tells you, that you might not be able to achieve some amount of success that you want. So there's some type of healing that needs to happen around like your perspective of success and your beliefs around like, can I do this path or have this and that? Like, can I have my cake and eat it too? Can I do, like, let's say you want to be a creative person. Can I be a creative person and have success? Because, you know, the starving artist archetype, maybe that's something that you abide by or you believe in. So there's something here to unravel and to heal, is your belief around success and, you know, can I have what I want? There might be some wounding there. And then the last set of cards that I have are what's the blessing coming to you? And this is a new moon in the 2nd. So this is where the blessing is happening. And the 2nd house is a financial house. So I got the Tower card, followed by the Empress in the World. So you guys are going to have some kind of like major shift in the bedrock of your life, where you once saw your worthiness or your finances or your perspective on you know, material success, you once saw in one way with the Tower, and then it's completely wiped out and rebuilt in a new light. So that's like thinking, having a scarcity consciousness and moving to prosperity consciousness, or thinking I can't have what I want to, I can have what I want, or I can do this path and be successful, or I can have this work be easy. I don't have to be struggling. So it's something that's going to completely eradicate your existing belief, and it's going to instill in you this prosperity with the Empress, this prosperity consciousness, this abundance, and the ability to have some kind of successful completion of something with the world, some kind of visibility, or and again, like some kind of achievement of some sort that you think that you are thinking is out of reach. So there is a process of healing and having to overcome and face this shadow. But on the other side of it, I see absolutely some career success for you or some financial success for you that right now you might be blocking in some type of way. So that's what I see for you, Cancer. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to learn astrology with me, I ran a free workshop on the moon, and I'm also going to kind of write out information on my mentorship, all on the same page. So if you want to check out like this free workshop, that's like a snippet of what I'm going to be teaching. And if you want to see details of the course, then I will link that whole page for you in my description box down below. So check that out. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, I'm next to have Leo rising and sun. So this Leo new moon happening on July 24th is happening in your first house in the sign of Leo. So it's a big deal for you, a time of a lot of kind of personal development. And definitely watch the overview because I break it down in a lot more detail. But this new moon is opposite Pluto in your 7th house. And wherever Pluto is represents some type of shadow that we need to face. So the first card that I pulled is, what shadow are you needing to face? And I got the King of Swords. So this could represent being a little bit like head over heart or cool, detached, logical when it comes to relationships. So there might be, like, you could kind of fall in a spectrum. You might be the opposite of where you are attracting into situations that are maybe toxic or emotionally intense, and it's hard for you to like keep your cool. Or the opposite could be true where you're so detached that it's like you're not even really being honest or emotionally vulnerable because of your detachment. So there's something here with this where you guys are needing to face the shadow around this, or you could attract people into your life who are really detached. So either way, there's something going on with this where either you need to embody more logic or attract people who have more emotion or more logic, or vice versa. So that's part of the shadow that's being revealed. Okay, sorry, my audio stopped working. So I believe what I was last saying was that this new moon is squaring Chiron, which is an Aries in your 9th. So this represents something that is wounding for us. And I pulled a card around this, and what is it that you need to heal? And I got the World card, which represents an ability to maybe see the world, travel the world, have a worldly perspective, and then also to be able to have certain like success in the world. So one of those elements of life can be an insecurity for you, or a wounding for you that needs to be healed. So once you are able to kind of confront this element of relationships and have a balance between the head and the heart, and once you are able to heal any wounding around maybe your worldliness or your success in the world or your ability to see the world or understand the world, then you're going to have some type of Leo blessing, which is going to help you embody this Emperor and the 7 of Wands. So the Emperor represents somebody who is very much in control of their life. They are a leader. They are an accomplished business person. They are like really in the know. They're very wise. People look up to them. They have a strength of presence and character that people defer to them for certain things in life. So I think that you guys are going to come into more of your own power as a result of healing or working with those things that I mentioned. We also have the 7 of Wands, which is somebody kind of beating down the competition and holding their own beliefs. So there's something about this where I can see you being really strong in your own power and essence, that you are not swayed too much by other people. And this might be a thing that happens at this new moon that comes up where you might have other people kind of pressuring you or like trying to manipulate you or emotionally causing some distress in your life. And you might need to hold more of your own in some type of fashion. And so the 7 of Wands can represent you being able to beat out competition, if that's something applicable here, like for a job or something. Or it could represent you being able to hold your own in the face of pushback or adversity or challenge to what you think is right or true. So I just see you like embodying more of leadership energy as a result of going through the longer process of this new moon, which is going to be around, you know, again, approaching relationships from an even head, but also from the heart, and attracting like-minded people who treat you the same way, not overly detached, not overly emotionally intense or volatile. And then also working through insecurities around your worldliness, your knowledge, your success, you know, your like platform in life. And then once you heal that and work through that, you're going to achieve this ability to be a leader and really hold your own. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Leo. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to learn astrology with me, I do have a mentorship coming up and a live workshop that kind of illustrates what I'll be teaching. And you can check that out in my description box down below. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, and I say Virgo rising and sun. This Leo new moon happening on July 24th is taking place in your 12th house. And definitely watch the overview because I'm not going to go super into detail around everything in this forecast for you, but I wanted to break it down into the most significant elements. This new moon is opposing Pluto in your 6th house, and this illustrates some kind of shadow that we are having to face. So the first card that I pulled was, what is a shadow? So for you at the Ace of Cups, this is interesting because I would think that this would apply more for like my Leos, because Pluto is in their 7th house, because the Ace of Cups is a relationship card. It's love. It's a new beginning, romance, feeling like a fresh emotional leaf turning over. So how I'm seeing this is some kind of contention with the past, which I often see related to the 12th house, and the stress and overthinking of the present, which I see with Pluto in the 6th. So there might be something here that is kind of pulling you out of your ability to move on from something or have a new beginning or have a fresh emotional start. And that is something that is a shadow that you need to face, is maybe some inability to move on, or some type of obsessive thinking or rumination, or some worry or stress about something that's bringing something back to top of mind. It can also indicate like issues with physical or mental illness that can be coming up and getting in the way of a fresh start for you. So that is part of the shadow that you're needing to face. This new moon is also squaring Chiron and Aries in your 8th house. So this represents something that's wounded that needs to be healed. For this, I have the 10 of Cups and 10 of Wands. It's interesting because both of these are 10s, and 10s represent like the completion of a cycle and the start of a new one. So there's something here around, you know, like a new beginning or an ending of some sort that I think you haven't fully moved on from something. So the 10 of Cups is like the happily ever after card. And then the 10 of Wands is like, I'm really emotionally burdened by something and stressed by something. So there might be this feeling of like, can I even have my happily ever after, or an association with like family or happy things with also like tragedy or emotional turmoil or burden of some sort. So there's some like positive and negative association going on here with the fairy tale, with the happily ever after, the happy family, like the good health, the prosperity, having everything you ever wanted. There's some negative and positive associations going on at the same time. So part of what needs to be healed with this Chiron in the 8th house is probably some past trauma that has created that emotional association between, you know, if I want this happiness or this family or this stability or this career success or whatever it is, if you had something take that away in the past, you might need to heal that and work on that in order for you to feel like you're not always going to associate the two. God, there's this fly that keeps landing on my computer. It's like driving me wild. Okay, so the last set of cards that I have is, what are you going to gain? What's the blessing you're going to gain as a result of doing this healing, facing this shadow? And this is going to relate to Leo being in the 12th, this Leo new moon. So we have the Knight of Wands and then the 7 of Wands. So something that I got from Leo is like a lot of fiery energy, which the wands are fiery energies, and tarot. And Leo is about like passion and inspiration and movement and confidence and excitement, and even maybe like some like sexual energy, not in the sense of like arousal, but in the sense of like the creation process that Leo is, you know, like I'm really excited about this. I'm inspired to create this. It's like life force. So that's what I see coming back to you guys, is some type of like speed and quickness in movement, this feeling of being more alive again, being less inhibited. The Seven of Wands is somebody who is very strong in their convictions, who knows kind of what they want and they stand on business. Justin Bieber, they are able to hold their conviction and move towards it confidently and not allow things in life to deter them. They're kind of like swatting at everything getting in their way. And it doesn't even slow them down. So I feel like there are things that have happened in the past that are lingering around your emotional aura. And you are allowing that to kind of muddy up the current new beginning that you are in. And part of this just needs to be healed and cleared and faced so that you can move forward with greater speed and confidence and accuracy, and not let like little hiccups bring you down or bring you back to something that happened in the past, because it will be a closed chapter. So that's what I'm seeing, is like being able to move forward without having the past kind of come back up to haunt you unnecessarily. So that's what you deserve, my Virgos. If you want to learn astrology from me, I am running a mentorship starting in August. I did move the date. So I have a workshop that kind of introduces you to some topics on the moon and gives you a preview of what I might be teaching about or will be teaching about to some extent. So if you want to check that out, I will have my course information, workshop information in the description box down below. Don't forget to also give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Libra, rising, and sun. For this Leo new moon happening on July 24th, it's taking place in your 11th house. So this is a complicated new moon and not really like the best one. Definitely watch the overview because there's a lot that I'm not going to get into, but I do want to break down the most essential pieces. So this new moon has an opposition with Pluto, which is in your 5th house. And you know, Pluto represents some type of shadow. So I pulled a card on what is the shadow that my Libras need to face. And I got the 6 of Wands in reverse. So there is something about this where, you know, the 6 of Wands is a lot about like wanting some type of like appreciation, support, recognition. And with Pluto in the 5th, you might actually be driven towards approval or being chosen, or, you know, like wanting to do the thing that's going to garner support from people at your own detriment at certain times. Or you might do the opposite of that and you know, maybe have some pride or egotism that prevents you from connecting with people and having good support systems. So whatever it is, it's kind of one of those things. It could either be that there's pride getting in the way or people pleasing getting in the way, but there's some shadow around that that's coming up for you now. So the next set of cards is, sorry, my brother is going to surgery now and they're sending me photos of him. So I'm just keeping tabs. So the next set of cards is what is being healed. So we have Chiron squaring this moon. Chiron is in Aries in your 7th house of relationships. So what wound is that bringing up for you that needs to be healed? There's something relationally going on. And I got the Ace of Swords and the 4 of Cups. So the thing that came to me was like having an idea or coming to some kind of like conclusion about someone or something, or having an important conversation or making a decision with something. And then the 4 of Cups, which is like going back on it or like losing interest in it, or like wavering and not committing to a certain line of thought. So like if this is relationship wise, this could be having a certain decision that you come to in a relationship and then questioning it, or you know, thinking that something is resolved with somebody, but then you don't feel like a resolution or conclusion actually happened. So stuff like that, where it's, you have one way of thinking and and then it kind of reverses or doesn't conclude. So there's something painful about that needs to be healed. You know, maybe like somebody, you're reaching out for closure with somebody and they're not responding, or maybe you came to a decision, but then the other person doesn't reciprocate or doesn't reach that conclusion that you were hoping. So something like that needs to be healed in terms of relationships right now, to get you either on the same page with somebody or just heal the fact that like you're not on the same page with somebody. And then the blessing that you get as a result of doing all of this, with Leo being a new moon in your 11th house, is having some type of like greater comfort, I guess, with certain things that you can't see in relationships. So the Two of Swords is represented by like a blindfolded person. And so there's always something about the path forward that you can't see in life, or just hard decision that you need to make. And so there's something about this, like you might be caught in between two paths or two decisions. And once you heal this energy of like people pleasing, and maybe wavering in certain communication or whatever with your relationships, it will help you rectify the situation and come to a clear decision. If you've been kind of playing both teams or playing both sides or being caught in the middle, which is a really common Libra experience of being caught in the middle of two people, two options, two decisions, I see that finding resolution as your blessing here. And that is going to help create like a clearer path forward and clearer relationships, which is why this Leo new moon is happening in a relationship house of the 11th house. So that's what I see for you guys. Definitely a lot going on relationally. I hope that this is helpful. If you want to learn astrology from me, I'm running a mentorship starting in August. I did push the date back. If you want to like check that out or learn more about that, I have a free workshop that kind of goes into certain topics that I will talk about just for you to learn. And then also at the end, I talk about my course. So if you are wanting to check that out, I will link that in my description box down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next is Scorpio rising. This Leo new moon happening on July 24th is taking place in your 10th house of career. So what is this going to bring for you guys? So this is a complicated new moon. I've been telling everyone you definitely want to watch the overview because I'm not going to get into all of the details, but I'm going to break down the three basic things. So this moon opposes Pluto, which can bring up some type of shadow. And I pulled a card around like, what shadow do you need to face? For you, Pluto's in your 4th house. And the card that I got is the 9 of Cups. So the message that came through with this is like the wondering if this is wishful thinking. Leo new moon in the 10th house can represent some type of achievement or career success or movement forward in life, like in a direction with your life that you're excited about. But there can be a lot of fear around that of like, is this happening for me, or is this going to happen? Or what if X, Y, and Z takes this good thing away from me? Am I just, again, being like wishful thinking? You know, it's like not wanting to jinx it type of thing. It's like having fear that it's not going to happen, or fear that you wanting something is like not a good thing, or that it could get taken away somehow. So some type of fear or shadow coming up around the wanting, the desiring, the wish that you have. This new moon is also squaring Chiron, which is in your 6th house. So this also represents like what needs to be healed, what wounding is going to come up around this new moon. And we have the 6 of Pentacles, which to me is super 6th house related, because the 6th house has a lot to do with like unequal giving and receiving. So part of your wounding might feel like I expend a lot of energy, I put a lot out, and I don't always get it back. And I always see this with the 6 of Pentacles is like, I'm very generous, but it's not always received well. I'm not receiving the same. So you might feel like, is this thing that I want in my life, is this too much wishful thinking? Like, because I keep putting energy and effort out into it in the world, and I'm not really getting it back. So is this even going to happen? That is part of what you need to like heal and work through at this new moon. And then the blessing that you get as a result of doing that work is the Queen of Swords and then the Ace of Cups. And to me, this relates to the Leo portion, the Leo new moon in the 10th house. So there is some kind of potential new relationship or like new path opening up for you that is emotionally fulfilling. But with the Queen of Swords, it's also going to be something that is like logically sound. So I don't know, I see some blessing coming to you where you get the thing that you are emotionally fulfilled by, but it's not coming from a dreamy place. It's coming from like facts and proof and like the data, if that makes sense. So it's like the dream materializes into the earthly realm, and it could look different than what you originally anticipated, but it feels just as fulfilling. And the realness, like truth and honesty, and like the thing materializing in this realm is there. I hope that makes sense. So like an example, if you've always wanted to be a musician, a star musician, you want to play on stages, like maybe part of your wish fulfillment or part of your wishful thinking could be that you want to be this huge star, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not exactly how I thought it would be, but I'm actually playing these live shows in my local community on maybe a smaller scale, but it's really fulfilling for me, and I have a following, and it looks different than maybe being Taylor Swift, but it's still satisfying and achieving some type of goal in the real world. That's kind of how I see this. So I'm seeing you guys accomplish something, but there might need to be some healing happening around, you know, do I give and receive equally? And then also, is this wish real for me, or is this wishful thinking? So anyway, that's what I see for you, Scorpio. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you down below. If you want to learn astrology from me, don't forget to check out my live moon workshop that I recorded. It's not live now, but it was live. But I recorded it for you guys to check out, where I kind of discuss like a moon topic that I'll cover in my course. So if you want to learn astrology with me as a mentorship, definitely check that out, and you can see all my course info below it, and I will link that in my description box down below. Don't forget to also give me a thumbs up in this video, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius rising and sun. So this Leo new moon on July 24th is taking place in your 9th house. And definitely watch the overview because I'm not going to cover every context of this, but I do want to go over 3 main portions. The first is that this new moon is opposite Pluto, which is in your 3rd house in Aquarius. And whenever we have an activation of Pluto and a new moon, there is some type of shadow or like secret coming up. So there is something going on here in regards to this Pluto 3rd house, where there could be some type of news or some kind of like thinking mindset that is undermining or even potentially self-sabotaging like family happiness or fulfillment with something. So this could take a lot of different forms. This could be an external event, or this could be coming from within, where you really want to be like happy and fulfilled in your life and in your home and in your family relationships, but then like you have this certain shadow self or this recurring thought or a fear also that could creep in and undermine your ability to feel fulfillment or happiness. Or there could be actual things that are like news or things that are going on that create that thought, I guess, like an event that makes you feel like it's undermining your happiness with something. So the shadow is that there's some undermining of like fulfillment and contentment in your home life or in your family life or in your sense of like fulfillment in life. So again, this could be caused from you or from something external, but they both feed into each other regardless if that's the case. So that's the shadow that's coming up that needs to be looked at. And then we have something that needs to be healed, and that is Chiron making a square to this new moon. And Chiron is in Aries in your 5th house, and we have the King of Wands. So there's something going on here with like your confidence, your self-belief, your ability to like take up space and be visible, your creativity, your connection with your children or your inner child. There's something with that that needs to be healed. So maybe you have been kind of hiding your light, or maybe you haven't been taking up space and trying to be a leader with something, or you've been hiding your creations or whatever this is, there's something that you need to kind of grow more into. I keep saying this, but stand on business with, like you're, I would have, what's a non-slang way to say that? Yeah, just like taking up space within a certain endeavor, or feeling confident about that. So that something needs to be healed in regards to that, because I feel like you're kind of playing small, or you're lacking creativity, or you're lacking inspiration, in regards to something, and it's diminishing your confidence. And so that's something that needs to be healed. And then once you do that, we come to the blessing that this new moon in the ninth house provides, which is the Empress card. And the ninth house, where this new moon is happening, is very abundant. It's very prosperous. It's a very optimistic house. And that's what the Empress card represents. The sense of like flow with the universe, feeling like good things happen to me, you know, things that I put out there, good energy I put out is returned to me. I'm confident that blessings are finding me. That's the energy of the Empress. So that's what you're going to come into. But you first have to confront whatever this shadow is of undermining your well-being, undermining your confidence. And then once you heal those things, you'll be able to get into a place of this easy, reciprocal, abundant relationship with the universe. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Sagittarius. If you are interested in learning astrology with me, I have hosted a workshop recently on the moon and all the psychological aspects of it, which is kind of like an intro, or, you know, a sample of my course. So if you're interested in joining a mentorship with me or learning from me, definitely check out that workshop. It's free. I will link it in my description box down below. And I also have my mentorship course information there as well. I did push out the start date to August. So if you're interested, check that out. Early bird pricing is extended to August 1st, and I hope to see you guys there. Have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn rising and sun. This Leo new moon happening on July 24th is taking place in your 8th house. So definitely watch the overview for this one more than any other moon video, because there's a lot going on that I'm not going to get into. I'm going to break down the 3 most important things for you though. And the first one is that this new moon is opposite Pluto in your 2nd house. So this is representing, wherever Pluto is some type of shadow, something being revealed to us. And the first card that I pulled is like, what is the shadow that you need to face? Your Pluto is in the 2nd house, and I got the 2 of Pentacles. So there's something here around maybe a couple of different things. Pluto in the 2nd can lack confidence, can lack self-worth, can lack like stability in the material world, or have worry or stress around money. And the 2 of Pentacles, representing the shadow, can talk about juggling a lot of things. Maybe you're trying to do too much and you're spreading yourself too thin, and it's not allowing you to like anchor down into some stability. Or maybe you feel like you have to be amazing at everything, and you put too much pressure on yourself, and you feel like you can't live up to your expectations. But there's this driving force that is undermining you by having you expending like too much energy, or extending too much of yourself out into the world. So if you just maybe pulled it back in and didn't put as much pressure, or focused your energy more on one thing, or built yourself up internally, that would really help. So the shadow is like going too far and wide with either your expectations or what you're diversifying into, and it's too spread out. And this new moon squares Chiron in your 4th house, which represents something that needs to be healed. I pulled the Magician for this in reverse. So the Magician in reverse represents someone not living up to their fullest potential. And I think that this might have like a historical or genetic root to it, with Chiron being in the 4th. Maybe there is an element of a connection to your family or to your past, but there's something here where, again, you're not living up to your potential in some way. And maybe it's because, or maybe I shouldn't say that, it's something that you need to heal. So maybe you're telling yourself you're not living up to your potential. And this could be coming from something related to your family, something related to your past, your childhood. some kind of wounding that like you were never enough growing up. And so you're telling yourself like, I'm not living up to my potential, and that's what needs to be healed. So I'm not saying that that's what's actually happening, but I'm saying that that's the belief pattern that needs to be healed. And it might cause you to feel like, oh, I'm not living up to my potential. I'm not doing enough. Like, let me do more. Let me do more. Let me extend myself. Let me put harder and harder expectations. Let me always move the goalpost. And it's like you're running and you can never catch up. Feels like a very Capricornian experience as well. So once you heal those shadows and you work on those wounds, you're going to be able to come to the Leo new moon blessing. We got the Queen of Pentacles. So first of all, Leo new moon in the 8th house can bring you some type of financial prosperity. The 8th house and 2nd house are financial houses. So it could bring you to a place of greater stability within yourself, emotionally, mentally, physically, and that can reflect in your material reality. So when you are not constantly undermining yourself or telling yourself you're not doing good enough or spreading yourself too thin, if you're able to be more in your, like, what is, like, I don't know, what's the word? It's like funneling the energy back into one source, like filling up your cup rather than spreading it all out. I hope that analogy makes sense, or that visual. But that's what I see you guys being able to do once you're healing this. And it creates this concentration of your vitality and this building of confidence, building of focus and energy in one direction that will create physical manifestations and results. So that's what I'm seeing, is some kind of like financial improvement or some kind of stability or improvement in your confidence and your ability to like handle things that can come as a result of doing this inner work. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. I hope that resonates. I want to let you know I am having an astrology like teaching mentorship going on that's starting in August. I pushed the date back if you've heard about it. And I ran a little workshop that kind of talked about one facet of it. So if you're interested in learning from me, learning astrology from me, definitely check that workshop out, which I will link in my description box down below. And I also have the mentorship / course information there. So if you're interested in learning about any of that, definitely check that out or join my email list. Again, that will be linked in my description box down below. Don't forget to comment this video, like, subscribe, and take care. Bye. All right, up next we have Aquarius rising and sun. So this new moon in Leo is happening in your 7th house on July 24th. And this is a little bit of a complicated one, so you'll definitely want to watch the overview at the beginning. But I'm going to break down 3 important sections of this. So first of all, this new moon is opposite Pluto in your 1st house. And Pluto represents some type of shadow that is in our life that we need to face. And this is especially true about yourself or your relationships, because Pluto's in the 1st, opposite the moon in the 7th. And I pulled a card around, like, what is the shadow that you have to face? And I got the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is a card of like ongoing battle, feeling like there are certain setbacks. So there could be things that you feel like, you know, you have to like push through when it comes to either your personal life or your relationships. And it could be something that you feel drained by. So there might be certain setbacks in life recently that have kind of caught up with you. And this is part of the shadow that you need to face, or just feeling maybe a little bit like weary, tired from these setbacks in life or these certain challenges in life, and how that might be affecting you and like your overall kind of relationship with yourself and your life right now. So it might be fluctuating, but there can be certain setbacks that might be taking its toll on your energy, on your confidence, on your optimism and whatnot. So that's part of the shadow that's coming up, and that could relate to relationships, but it doesn't have to. It can be other areas of life as well. So this moon is also making a square to Chiron in your 3rd house in Aries. And wherever Chiron is where we're going to have some type of wounding come up. So for you guys, this feels like a wounding around stability, given the cards that I have. So I pulled the 6 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles, which are all cards that talk about like prosperity, stability, having things be kind of consistent. So there might be some wounding coming up, because the 3rd house where Chiron is very transitory and very movement oriented, and flexible and adaptable. So there might be something here where you have some rigidness potentially in thought, or maybe you really desire stability and you need to heal your maybe fear or wounding around like things being unknown or things being in flux. There's just something in regards to like movement or transition that I think you might be wounded by or triggered by at this period of time, and you're really wanting maybe some stability, and that's not where it is right now for you. Maybe you want more financial prosperity, for example, or things to pay off already, but they're still in a period of transition and development. So yeah, there's like a journey that you're on that I think you need to heal the discomfort around the transition, the journey, the not having maybe the stability that you're looking for right at this particular moment. And once you get okay with those things that are fluctuating and those unknowns, and once you kind of are able to face and let go of the weariness you might feel from certain setbacks along this journey, you can get the blessing of the Leo new moon, which is 4 of Wands and 9 of Cups. This could be, you know, a happy marriage, a happy relationship. Like if there are certain setbacks in relationships or things that have been not as stable as you'd like to be in your relationship, for example, this could be pointing to, you know, ride those waves and not get tired, like, or confront the tiredness or whatever. And on the other side of working through all of this bumpiness or choppiness in life or relationships will lead to the successful dynamic at the end, the wish fulfillment and the emotional fulfillment and celebration, which represents like a wedding, for example, but it could be anything in your life. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. It's like you're going to get the fulfillment out of the thing that you want, but there are some challenges along the way that I think you're ultimately going to have to face right now. So that's what I see for you, Aquarius. If that makes sense for you, let me know in the comments down below how this relates to your life. If you want to learn astrology from me, I am running an astrology workshop, a mentorship, like a course type of situation. So if you want to join that, it's starting in August. I will have information for it linked down below. I also have a free moon workshop that's kind of gives you like a taste test of what this course will be about. So check that out again in my description box down below. Don't forget to have a beautiful day, and I'll see you later. Bye. All right, and last but not least, we have Pisces rising and sun. So for you guys, this Leo new moon on July 24th is taking place in your 6th house of work. So what is this going to bring? Definitely watch the overview, because of all the new moons, this is going to be the most important overview, and I'm not going to cover everything. I'm going a little bit faster in these individual breakdowns. I'm going to cover 3 important topics about this new moon. So the first is that Pluto is opposing it, Pluto in the 12th. So there's definitely some shadows that come up when we have Pluto come into play. And for you guys, this shadow has a lot to do with unknown qualities, because it's in the 12th house, which is the hidden house. So we have the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles representing the shadows that you need to face. To me, there's some kind of like unknown factor or things that you can't see that you just have to trust in the material world, which, because this is a new moon in the 6th house, which is our work and our everyday production and material reality. But Pluto's opposite in the 12th, which is the immaterial, the things that you cannot see, and dealing with things that are outside of your control. So I just largely think that there's something going on that is a larger universal thing in your life, like a cycle in your life that you're in, that's something outside of your control that you're having to contend with, and you're moving through the material world still, but kind of blindly, because there are factors at play that you can't see or understand or have control over. So for example, this is like if you have a car and then all of a sudden you got into a car accident one day and you're like, well, now I can't drive my car. And so this is affecting my material world, and you don't know why this is happening, and it's outside of your control. You didn't cause the accident, but these are forces still putting you in a situation. So that's some of the shadows that you're going to need to face, and the fears that can come up around not being in control at times like this. We also have this new moon squaring Chiron, which is in Aries. which is in your second house of money. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because we're going to have wounding come up that needs to be healed around where Chiron is. So this new moon is going to bring up the fact that there's financial instability in your life that you're really wanting to feel solid with. Or this could be something in the material world. It could be you don't have a housing situation figured out, or you don't have enough savings for something that you want, or maybe you just are comparing yourself to other people, or maybe you've had a financial hit and it's like, oh, that really sucks. Something with money or lack is coming through here in the material world, or things that you own. So some type of lack in the things that you own that you're going to need to heal your consciousness around, or just heal in general right now, because it's a wounding. And then once you are able to work with those shadows and heal the wounds around lack, you're going to get the blessing of a Leo new moon, which is again in your 6th house. So maybe this will be a new job. The 7 of Wands is like competition. So beating out competition to get some kind of opportunity. And the 4 of Pentacles is somebody who saves money. So I can see you beating out competition to, again, gain an opportunity or gain something that can help you save money. So there's going to be something of that nature that you are going to win, I guess. You could even win a contest that helps you like put more money to the side. There's something like that. Or maybe you win a legal battle and you get some inheritance because of you disputed something in the will. I don't know. It's like, it can look different for everybody, but there's something changing or something that you are winning over other people, and it's allowing you to save money. So that's the blessing that you're going to get in this scenario. But you might need to work on healing around like some lack and things that you can't control, and making peace with it, or just confronting the shadow of it altogether. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Pisces. I hope that that's helpful for you. If it resonates, let me know down below. If you want to study astrology with me, I am running a mentorship starting in August. I did push the date back, and I do have like a little moon workshop where we kind of give you a taste of what is to come. So if you're interested in checking any of that out, if you want to learn from me at all, I will link that in my description box down below. And I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.